Okay, this is really fun the way you did this whole little set here and kind of went above and beyond the assignment. I think there's some issues around the squashing and stretching. Um, well, I think part of what's bothering me is that, well, okay, for one, it doesn't stretch at all, but it squashes a lot. So you're going to want to get, so now it's stretching here when it should actually be its most stretched right there. So you didn't quite get the squashing and stretching right. So let's take a look at that. But before we do that, let's take a look at the shape of the curves. Those look all right. This one maybe could be a little flatter on top. See what that looks like. Yeah. So that timing's good, but let's take a look at the squash and stretch because that's not really right. So so here it should be stretched. Oh, and maybe like at zero. Oh, zero here and zero here. So it gradually starts. Maybe too stretched, but should be stretched there. And then when it hits here, it should be squashed. Okay. And then by the time it gets, this shouldn't be here. Let's delete that. By the time it gets to the top, this is where it should be at zero because it's not really accelerating or decelerating. Oh, we're missing a stretch, so I usually give it like that kind of one recovery frame, but then it should be, for the most part, stretched right after it bounces. And there's that whole thing about the second contact frame, which you didn't do. Okay, so, and then here again, when it gets to here, let's just keyframe it there. Just hit S. And then here is where it's most stretched, because that's when it's fastest. And then again here it's stretched. And then let's get rid of that. And that's probably where it's going to be zero again. And then don't think we need this one. Okay, I'm going to keyframe there. But one before that, let's stretch it. And then this should be stretched. Probably get rid of that one. And at the top here, those should be at zero. Anyway, hopefully you're getting the pattern. Let's just watch this and see if you like it better. I mean, to me, that's, yeah, I might have done a bit more stretch and squash than it needs, but that's the kind of pattern of movement. As it accelerates, it gets more stretched, and then when it decelerates quickly, when it hits the ground, is where it squashes. And then there's that bit about the additional contact frame where it's actually touching for 2 frames, which you can find right here in More on Bouncing Balls on page 13. And right here you can see that it touches while it's fully stretched and it's still touching while it's fully squashed. And you get a much kind of snappier sort of movement to that. Okay, so let's look at the realistic bounce. I think that's looking pretty good. I feel like the first one Just kind of a slow drop on that first one to me. Interesting to kind of just look at the. I think partly we want this one to be flat. That's going to help a little bit. And these are good. And it can be nice to do like one more tiny little bounce there, almost like a little vibration at the end. Can be kind of nice.
But don't do it when you see a wolf.
Yeah. I mean, if you see a wolf, it's fine. Just don't count the other bird that comes.
Oh, I see.
I can't even see it, but
11. You got 11.
it's very subtle.
15. 19.
I have auto keyframe on, so.
28.
Anyway, you can even put even one more, little.
There were no wolves.
I know.
So it's almost like a little vibration at the end. Whoops.
They don't really like the wolves.
I like the roll at the end.
But the wolves can confuse us.
Do you see that? Yeah, there's almost like with those last two little bounces, it's almost like a kind of a little vibration at the end, which makes it look a little more real. But generally, I thought that was pretty good.